Okay. Oh, I'm getting exhausted. I bet you're all bored with watching this crap that I'm putting up on the board. All right, we're finally there. It was supposed to be a 5-part series. It's an 8-part series. We're at the last part, the next cycle. What do we expect to happen post-whelp? What are we looking for in our mother? When should we be breeding her again? When do we decide that that's a good idea? And when will that next cycle happen? That's what this last part is about. And I appreciate all of you who have stayed with me for this whole momentous ordeal of getting all this information out. Okay, so let's go back to our graph of days versus progesterone level. So this was day 0, beginning of the first heat, and we saw this process where the progesterone level went high and then it dropped back down and she had puppies. So this here is about 72 days, give or take a day or two. Based on the fact that she's gonna do her first AI about day 11 and it's 61 days later, so that would actually make that 72 days. Now look, don't write this down and pretend like if it's 75 days or 63 days that James is an idiot, because this is not written in stone. But the point here is regardless of whether she was bred or not, this is interesting here, progesterone level goes high, and how high is it? 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. This level is a high progesterone level, and it stays that way during the whole process, regardless of whether there's puppies in there or not. And by the way, this is something I didn't talk about before. One thing that can cause a loss of pregnancy is a dog that fails to keep his progesterone levels up, and they can then absorb or lose puppies because of that. And if you've had a history of this, you can give progesterone shots to elevate that dog back up so that it does have a successful whelp. So that's something to be aware of. Okay, so what happens now? Nothing happens. So this was, by the way, approximately 2 months. And dogs come in typically every 6 months. So you've now got typically another 4 months before she starts her next cycle. And here's her next cycle, and guess what? The whole process starts up again. Okay. So on most dogs, this point here, from her being AI'd to the next time that she may be ready to have birth again, is approximately 6 months. A ballpark of 6 months, okay? Now, it can vary. I mean, certainly some dogs can be a year. It might even be a year and a half between heats. Sometimes dogs have silent heats you don't even see, and the heat's going on, but you don't see much blood. And in fact, this thing's happening, you don't even know it's going on. So what do you do in these situations? Well, you watch. If you are not seeing blood here after 6 months and you think you should be, and it's been another month after that, pay attention to the behavior of the dog. The dog may tell you it's back in heat by the way it's behaving, or the way that other dogs are behaving towards it. You know, it's humping other dogs are humping it, they're paying a lot of attention to their genital areas. Those are all signs that the dog is either coming back into heat or in fact is having a silent heat. So you know, this is the whole process. And by the way, I will do another video, and I'm not going to add it as a part here because you're all going to get PO'd at me. But we're going to talk about split heats, so we're going to have another video just on split heats. Okay, so what we'd expect a dog to come back in every 6 months. So when should this first breeding take place? How old should this dog be for the first breeding? Well, I think it needs to be at least a year old. Some people will say older, and I will, you know, whatever you think. I think that if you start breeding dogs typically have their first heat before they're a year old. 8, 9 months old. If they have their first heat at 8 or 9 months old, typically the next heat is about when they're a year and a half or a year and a quarter. That's fine. I think you can breed that dog. As long as the dog is acting like an adult dog, it's not a really small dog, and is not really skittish and being silly, breed the dog. Okay, so do you breed again here? Should this dog be bred again here? So, I've got a whole video on this. It's called the Ethical Breeding of Dogs, I think it's called. So who knows if this dog's bred? The answer is you don't know until you're here. In fact, until you've passed these dogs being whelped. So here's a couple of bits of information. The first thing is the reproductive people these days say you're better off breeding dogs back to back. It's better for their uterus because it gets cleaned out. It avoids the potential of having uterine cancer. So for them, they think that breeding back to back is probably a good thing. The majority of them will tell you that. I'm in a slightly different camp. I say that you should breed a dog again, provided that this has been a successful whelp, that these puppies were all born healthy and happy, that mum looked after them okay, and specifically that mum bounced back to her normal weight as a happy, healthy dog not long after she weaned the puppies. So where are the puppies going to get weaned? The puppies were born here. They were born here, and then they are going to leave for their new homes. For us, that would be something in the order of 10 weeks later. 10 weeks after birth is about the point that we can think they can be rehomed. And certainly she should have weaned her puppies within 4 would be early and 7 weeks might be long after they're born. That's about the point that you're weaning puppies. Puppies are eyes open at day 10. They've got teeth at about 3.5 weeks. They can go on to soft food at that point. That's the point that mum's milk starts to dry up and you can get her away from puppies if you need to. We leave our mum with puppies as long as she'll look after them properly, which might be until they leave. But certainly by the time they've left, mum's milk will have dried up and puppies should be putting weight on and eating regular food, and mum needs to start looking pretty good. If mum is having a hard time at it, give her a break. If you had a hard time with it, give yourself a break. You don't have to hammer away at dogs and breed them all the time. But at the same time, if you enjoyed that process and mum enjoyed her babies and the babies were happy and healthy and it all went back to being a normal dog fairly quickly, have at it, breed her again. How many of these cycles do you go on for? Well, nobody can answer that one either. Look, some dogs live to be 15, 16 years old. If you're going to breed a dog at 16 years old, you're crazy. French Bulldogs have a typical lifespan something between 7 and 10 years old. By the time they're 6 years old, they're probably not going to have any more puppies. So how do we decide when we're going to decide it's enough is enough? Mum didn't bounce back. Mum was crappy towards her babies. You started to have small litters. You had problems with the litters. Those are all reasons that say, hey, James, maybe we need to rethink this. Maybe this girl has had enough of this and we need to let her retire and just be a regular dog and not be having babies all the time. So you're going to get some natural breaks anyway because you'll breed a dog and it won't hit every time. So some of those things are going to go on anyway. But I think, if you're going to be correct about this, you've got to think about the well-being of your puppies, the well-being of your mum, and your own well-being. And if all those things line up correctly, have at it and breed again. If you've got any holes in that, then I would seriously think about giving her a break. And then if she has 2 in a row that got problems, I think you should probably be done with that. And when you are done with it, spay your dog. Don't leave her with an intact uterus. Don't sell her off to somebody else because you had problems. If you had problems, you should spay the dog, because that completely gets rid of the possibility of having uterine cancer because there's no uterus left. Okay, there we go. That was a short one. I think that's it. I keep on telling you, got to subscribe to me. I do this, it takes quite a bit of time and effort. I take a lot of phone calls and texts from you all, but I'd really like it if you subscribe to me because it does help me. And of course, what really helps us is if people go to My Breeder Supply and look at our products, and hopefully they find something they really would like to have. And we're very good about getting stuff out. We care about our customers and we care about the dogs that those customers produce. So thanks for watching this. I know it's been I don't know how many hours worth I've put you through on this. It's been a lot. For those of you who have stayed to the end, I say thank you very much. And God bless and have a great day. Bye, everybody.